Good morning. I pray all is well. I was looking in the New Testament earlier, and it got me to think a little bit about the topic that we have for today on Tuesday, and that is Jesus is full of grace and truth. The prime examples that we have of Jesus being full of grace and truth is we see him interacting with people that he wasn't supposed to be interacting with. According to society, to the community, to the religious leaders, Jesus was not supposed to be as graceful or as accepting as the outcasts of the norm of what was okay of those times. He was oozing grace. He would sit and eat and dine with people that he shouldn't even be talking to or even be seen in the same room as. We see him uh, um, not only stopping and healing people, but going out of his way to heal people and get involved in people's lives. And then, of course, the biggest act of grace that we see with Jesus in the New Testament is Calvary. The biggest expression of grace on humanity in existence in all that we can fathom. The biggest expression of grace is Calvary, is the cross. And Jesus is the manifestation of grace without a doubt and truth. In between the healing and in between eating the meals with the prostitutes and hanging out with the tax collectors, in between all those moments of grace, he was he was imparting truth. Uh, a lot of people's first reaction to Jesus' truth is what he taught, what he said, what he would talk about on the hillside, what he preached in the synagogues, what he talked about when he was dining with his disciples. Yes, that's definitely truth. But I think the greatest manifestation of Jesus' truth is the way he lived his life. Is he speaks more about truth in his silence than he ever did in his messages and his preaching. And of course, those are anointed words, and they're directly from the mouth and heart of God. And that, no doubt that those sermons and those scriptures that we have is truth. But all those little details, I love to read in between the lines when Jesus doesn't ask a question, or when he doesn't respond to something that somebody asks him, or when he doesn't give the answer that you expect. There's so much truth that oozes out of even his silence. That was such a manifestation of Jesus' truth. And when it comes to us, me and you, being full of grace, being full of truth, I don't think that one is more important than the other, or that you can have more truth than you have grace and have more grace than you have truth. They're one and the same. They work together. We know that Jesus was the perfect sacrifice. He had no sin and no unbalance in his life. He did not have more grace and he did not have more truth than what was the perfect combination. And we need to be careful with ourselves and how we look at other people and say, "Oh, well, those people are just they're too left wing. They don't follow the rules enough, or those people are too hard. They're too about the rules. They're too about the letter of the law." And we can have these two extremes, but when it comes down to it, Jesus was a perfect combination of grace and truth. And if we want to have that, the only way we can have that perfect balance of grace and truth is if we know Jesus. Because those disciples that walked with him, that soon when Jesus left them and they were the ones that were projecting the gospel into the world, they had to manifest what they had been taught, what they had seen. They had to master that balance. And that balance came through relationship of grace and truth. First of all, knowing true grace and knowing true truth only comes from being in relationship with him. And relationship with him over time is going to help us find the balance. It's not the either or, it's and in both. We need to have both those things in the quantities that Jesus did. And you know what? There's no magic equation. There's no magic answer. I can't say, you'll know you have this much grace and this much truth, whatever. You need to seek that for yourself and look at your life. Step back from your life and say, you know what? What would have Jesus done in this situation? Is this a balance of grace and truth? Am I showing equal grace and equal truth? Or am I too one way or too the other way? So I encourage you, take some time and take some inventory in your heart and say, you know what? Maybe I have been this way, and maybe I haven't been this way. I really haven't been thinking and acting and behaving and loving like Jesus. And I believe if you seek the Lord with a pure heart about saying, God, I want to manifest your grace and your truth, I guarantee you his grace and his truth will run rampant through your life and through your heart. And as you walk and you desire to learn, the Lord will have grace and truth on you. God bless you.